morning, everyone. And I want to thank the folks from LinkedIn for inviting me to speak today. I'm really excited to share some insights into my team, the work we do, and specifically to our partnership with LinkedIn. And more specifically, I want to talk today a little bit about our approach to testing and scaling campaigns, which of course is a huge, huge topic, but I'm going to do my best to provide some insights in this 10 to 15 minute time period that I have today. So for starters, a little bit about my team and our partnership with LinkedIn and why we work with LinkedIn in the first place. My team at Northeastern is responsible for marketing more than 160 professional degree programs. Those programs range from bachelor's completions programs through to graduate certificates, master's degrees, and even doctoral programs. And all of the programs that we market do have some type of an online component to it. So we are going out to a national audience with everything that we do. So Chip really hit the nail on the head in his talk right before me here, and accessibility is the name of the game for us. We're trying to present our programs to that. When we say professional degree programs, we're thinking about the working professional who doesn't want to put their career or life on hold in order to advance their career through education. So we've been working with LinkedIn for a little over 3 years now. Really over the last year and a half is where we've taken that relationship to the next level and launched what I would consider to be comprehensive marketing campaigns. When I think of comprehensive marketing campaigns in LinkedIn, what that means to me is utilizing the full suite that's available to us. So everything from sponsored updates to sponsored in-mail, dynamic display, and also taking a year-long approach. So similar to like a campaign like paid search, we're always in market now with LinkedIn. It may not be for every program or every audience that we're marketing, but we're constantly in market with LinkedIn, constantly optimizing. What we knew about LinkedIn, of course, was that it's a very professionally focused, career-focused audience. But these stats here were really what kind of, I think, set off a light bulb in our team's mind to say, this is also a very educationally focused audience. Of the 450 million users, 450 plus million users, nearly half of them are considering some type of further study, and about a quarter of those are considering doing so within 18 months. So again, from a professional degree program marketer standpoint, it was a home run for us to expand these efforts. And again, really over the last year and a half is when we've launched what I would consider these comprehensive marketing campaigns being consistently into market. So again, testing and scaling, as I mentioned, is a gigantic topic. But what I want to try to provide today is a little bit of insight into our team's thought process when we get ready to go to market, either with a new program that may be brand new to market, or it may be launching an online component for the first time, or we may be considering different audiences where we're packaging different programs to present to like-minded audiences or like-minded professionals. And really the two key things that we're thinking about before any campaign launch are, number one, of course, identifying our goals and KPIs, and number two is kind of an insider trick, and that's paying attention to click demographics. So for starters, goal setting and KPI setting. As I mentioned, we're marketing more than 160 programs, but we're also full life cycle marketers with my team at Northeastern, meaning that we're building our enrollment funnel and our enrollment pipeline from lead generation all the way through to actual enrollment. So we're building our goals based on our enrollment goals, both for fiscal year and for individual semesters. We know what our conversion rates are within the funnel, both from lead to application to enrollment, and then we're backing out from those enrollment goals to build our lead goals based on what we know about our enrollment funnel and how quickly our students move through it. So LinkedIn, of course, is a big part of our lead goal setting, and we know, based on the CPLs that we've seen and based on partnering with LinkedIn and our account team like Danielle and Brittany to talk about target CPLs, so we know if we're investing a certain amount of money in the LinkedIn Marketing Solutions platform for a particular audience or a particular program, we have a really good idea that we know X amount of dollars are going to bring us X amount of leads, and then hopefully eventually, if we're doing the right things with our enrollment funnel, X amount of enrollments at the end of the day as well. KPIs are a more granular level. I mean, these are things that we're setting outside of these high-level lead goals. We're using KPIs to really fully optimize our campaigns. And the KPIs that we're setting, again, in close partnership with our account team at LinkedIn, are things like click-through rates, engagement rates, the types of data that's telling us, is the content that we have in market working? Are people engaging with it? Are we fully optimized? And if we're not, we need to be flipping in new content, turning things off, pushing budget to different pieces. So again, I say our work with LinkedIn is a partnership, and it really is, because we're working very closely at the start of any campaign and throughout when campaigns are launched to have a very open dialogue with our LinkedIn account team to make sure that we're fully optimized and we're paying close attention to the data. And they really do a great job of keeping us in the loop on different benchmarks and different things that we're going to be looking at that we can then take to the back end to flip in new content. Click demographics is a really fantastic tool, and it's one that we really have only been fully utilizing for the last 6 or 7 months. Anyone who launches a sponsored update campaign of any type has access to this data. And what this data is telling you is you're in market with sponsored update content. You could have 4 or 5 different pieces of content live at any time, but the people that are engaging, the prospective students that are actually clicking on and engaging with your content, that data is all pulled into this dashboard right here, which is live for any of you who have a sponsored update account in LinkedIn. And this is a tool that we're using, of course, for optimization, because we can take a look at that and say, hypothetically, we're marketing a project management degree to individuals in the industry of project management with titles that we've honed in on as project managers. We can obviously look at this very quickly and know if we're hitting our target audience or not. But where this really gets interesting is when we take this data to scale our campaigns outside of LinkedIn. So I'm sure the folks at LinkedIn probably don't want me to say this, but of course we're doing other things from a marketing standpoint that aren't just in LinkedIn. But this is data that we're actually now using to export to our other agency partners and helping us influence how we're targeting with campaigns like paid search and the keywords that we're going after, how we're targeting in our programmatic display and our retargeting campaigns. We can test new audiences, we can group like-minded programs to like-minded audiences, and then get some really great data on what are the job titles of the folks who are interacting with our content, where are the locations, where are the geographies of where they're coming from, what is their education level, what are their job functions. There's a ton of data there that we can take, and then, of course, use to optimize in LinkedIn, but also take outside of LinkedIn in order to influence our other campaigns too. So again, it's a tool that we've really just started to fully expand and utilize over the past 6 months or so, but it's been hugely successful in helping us test and scale campaigns both inside and outside of LinkedIn. So scalability, when I think of scalability, again, speaking in the terms of a comprehensive marketing campaign in LinkedIn, we're always in market, so we're always thinking of different ways that we can continue to optimize and continue to push new content to market, and it's not an easy thing to do. I'll preface this by saying that I have the luxury of working with an internal creative team. So I have copywriters, I have graphic designers, I have photo and video folks who work under our umbrella of our marketing unit. But I want to try to provide a few tips and tricks of things that we've implemented over the past 1.5 years or so that I think, whether you're a marketing team of 1 or a marketing team of 50, some things that you can do to really scale your campaigns and launch these comprehensive campaigns in LinkedIn. So the first one is utilizing content calendars. As I mentioned a few times, we're always in market now. Throughout the entire fiscal year, we launch from day, it was really never a launch and an end date. We're consistently bringing in new content, testing new audiences. But what we've done to kind of make sure that we're fully optimizing our campaigns is working with our creative team to build content calendars. We really learned the hard way, a little over 1.5 years or 2 years ago when we first got into market comprehensively with LinkedIn, that you can never have enough content. Our old approach would be, let's create 4 sponsored updates, let's create 1 in-mail, and let's bring a couple of different display pieces of content to market, throw it in there and see how it goes. But we weren't then prepared to look at the things like the click demographics and the data of the engagement rates to optimize. So if we had a particular stat or a particular piece of content that was really working or one that really wasn't, we weren't prepared to turn certain things off in order to bring new content into market based on what we were seeing was working or what wasn't. So again, the content calendar comes into play where we know at campaign launch now that we want to have 10 to 12 pieces of sponsored update content. We know we want to have at least a couple of different in-mail pieces of content with both different banners, different subject lines, different calls to action, and a handful of dynamic display banner content as well that we're ready to go to market. We're ready to optimize. After a week or 2 weeks of being live, we know we can turn things off, flip in new content, work with the account team at LinkedIn to shift our budget strategy because we know we have that kind of hopper of content to flip in. But taking a more long-term approach to it, we also know that after being live for 1.5 to 2 months, typically about 90 to 120 days, we want to be back in market with brand new, refreshed creative because we want prospective students who may be seeing our ads multiple times to get a kind of fresh look and feel and a fresh message from us. Excuse me. So what we do is, from a content calendar standpoint, is, again, hypothetically, campaign launched of September 1st. We're live in market with plenty of content to fully optimize. But then we know about a month in, we want to regroup as a team, start having the conversations about what are we seeing that's working, what isn't working, and then let's start working on a refresh creative for what we would call wave 2. but after about 2 months, bring brand new creative into market that we know based on the things that are working, whether they're stat-heavy pieces or aspirational pieces. Different audiences respond differently to different pieces of content, but we know that 2 months in or so, we want to come back to market with brand new pieces of content. So again, building those content calendars to have that in your back of your mind that a month and a half or 2 months from now, we want to be back in market with refreshed creative has been a huge win for us, and one that I'm really excited to see where this goes over the next fiscal year for us. And finally, the last scalability tip I want to leave you with is a little bit about our visual templates. So the slides you're seeing here is a little bit of an insight and kind of our content journey that we've taken over the past year. And you can see it varies from more of like the stock imagery pieces to more of a branded iconographic feel and even some kind of stat-heavy pieces. And I'm hoping this slide kind of paints a picture for how our content has shifted over the past year and a half or so. We first went to market. We had some basic kind of stock imagery pieces, but we weren't really fully optimized because we couldn't tell if it wasn't really playing with the content. So hypothetically, we have a sponsored update that's live that has a really great stat about the job market for project managers. But a basic piece of stock imagery wasn't really telling a compelling story and wasn't really drawing the user's eye to that. So we've kind of moved towards more of an iconographic feel, and now we have these templates built where we can actually pull content from the copy itself in the sponsored update ad that we as marketers can plug in a stat. So again, hypothetically, we have a really great stat about a degree program or about the job market for a potential audience or something like that. We as marketers can then plug in this data so that our visual templates and the content that we're showing from an imagery standpoint for our sponsored updates are playing really well with the copy that's written on the headlines. So when I say visual templates, really the key to that is our creative team will build us a template that we can then edit as marketers. So every time I want to optimize or flip in a piece of content or we see something that's working, I don't have to go back to the drawing board and submit a new project brief with our project manager and have them start from scratch. We have the template built, whether it's in Illustrator or in Photoshop, then I can then take and say, okay, this stat's working really great. Let's double down on that, find some new stats to go to market with, plug into our visual template, and then we're back in market very quickly. So I think it's a really effective way to have a compelling, deep visual identity, specifically through sponsored updates, but without having to consistently create brand new creative. And not continually have to go back to the drawing board, creating templates that work based on your brand, but then pieces that you can easily edit and tweak things out. So all the stuff you see here on the screen is completely editable for myself as a marketer, whether it's flipping in the icons or flipping in a new degree name, tweaking the colors a little bit, of course, based off our brand standards. We have certain ones we're stuck with. And then, of course, the things, we have different assets that we can flip in, different pieces of information or stats and things like that. So it's been a really great tool for us, and one that we've seen our engagement rates go through the roof and our click-through rates go through the roof, the more that we've been able to really double down on having our visual imagery and our visual identity tie in with the copy that we have launched in LinkedIn specific to our sponsored update campaigns. So finally, just to wrap up, again, a huge topic, but I hope I was able to provide some insight into kind of our thought process for how we test and scale and how we bring new campaigns or new degrees to market. And then how we take those and scale those to a comprehensive level. So the three things I hope you walk away from this talk today is number one, identifying goals and KPIs. We're, of course, all marketers. I'm sure you can't fathom going to market or marketing any campaign or any degree without setting some type of goal for yourself. But I just want to make the point that we do a great job of partnering, and our account team does a great job of partnering with us at program launch to have KPIs and have goals in place so that we know very quickly, very early on, whether our campaigns are working and what we need to do to adjust. And of course, the content and having the content at your disposal, as I mentioned, plays a big part in to be able to optimize that. Number two is the click demographic piece, as I hit on. It's a great tool that I think is really underutilized, and it's a tool that's been fantastic as an optimization tool for us within LinkedIn, but also a fantastic tool for us too in scaling campaigns outside of LinkedIn and teaching us a lot about our audience and who's interacting with our content and what is effective and what isn't. And finally, content. As I mentioned, we did learn really the hard way that you can never have too much content. So utilizing little tips and tricks, whether you have a creative team, whether you're outsourcing it, or whether you may be doing it yourself, building yourself content calendars that you're always prepared to optimize, always prepared to flip new things in, and always looking ahead to that next campaign launch. And utilizing those templates, building templates for yourself that you can easily tweak based on what folks are engaging with so that you can build a very deep a breadth of visual content that ties in really well with your copy. So thank you very much. I hope you found this informative. It was certainly a pleasure to talk to you all today. I will be, of course, around all day, so if you want to chat over lunch or pick my brain over any of these things, I'm certainly happy to do that. And thank you again for LinkedIn for this opportunity, and thank you, everyone.